I can tell that one, how it happened, because we been prepared already. We went together already 4 years before we got married, and we wanted to get married. And it was already prepared, the marriage. My wife parents who lived in the country, but uncles, she left the country when she was 10 years old. She left in the country Durham where she was born. So 10, and when she was 10, then the auntie who lived in Budapest adopted her in type of asked her to come and I will look after you to grow up in the city. So that she grew up in the city, really, and that's where I met with her. So everything was prepared to getting married that day. A day I had a letter that I had to go in nearly straight away, and because we had the marriage, so I missed a day. I went a day later, which paper proved it, what's the reason, and I took with me the paper to show it, what's the reason, and then we went, I moved in to a place called Mohács. That's where I have to get my wife's help in, because her memory is better. I got problems with the memory. That's another story which I see. You know Professor Brodati?
Henry, yes.
Henry.
Yes, lovely man.
Yeah, I'm one of his clients. You and I had a bit of a problem. I don't know, I don't think so. But you had a bit of a problem lately, and I went to see him. And when I saw him, he naturally he tested me, and he said, "Oh, wait a minute, you are not as good as you was 2 years ago." So he put me, and then the same time I read in the paper that he's tried to get some new things to help people regarding dementia or what's the name? And Alzheimer, dementia or Alzheimer. So, and then so I looked at him when I met with him, because we somehow closer through George, closer. And when I saw him, I said to him, "Look, I read in the paper, you're looking some new things." He said, "Oh yes, do you want to be a volunteer, a guinea pig volunteer?" I said, "Yes, I want it." So I went, and I was better for the worst, because it's 2 studies is there at the moment, 2 different studies. But I was better the harder study, like Alzheimer's study. I was much better for that. So he said, "Oh, I got the other one." So that I started to take the other one. I said, "Oh, all right, the other one." So I said, and that tablet made me, I took 3 lots, which is roughly about 30 tablets. I took about that much, and that made me a problem. Giddiness and problem. So last time, it was about 2 weeks ago, I went back, and I say not him, because there is a lady doctor there which is working for that side of it. And she said to me that first they tested me. Two psychologists tested me. They split up the 3 hours, 1.5 hours, 1 was it 3 hours to test me. And when I was finished with the 3 hours, then they met with the doctor, and then the doctor came back to us, look, Tom, I don't think so. You take that one, and we have to wait until Professor Rodati came back because he's away for 3 months. I knew about it. He gave 3 months, and when he comes back, I will report what happened with all this. And then we call you. That's how I'm standing at the moment. So the memory is not as good as I was, but the memory for the past is clear. Only the short memories. He told me it's just short memories is the problem, not the long memory, just the short memories. So I moved into Monor. I think it was Monor, yes. And I moved into Monor the next day. Married, how I married. My dear mother told me, I had a widower mother. I lost my father when I was 13 years old. It's a doctor misjudged the sickness and gave the wrong medicine, and she got a blood, which today is nothing. A blood poison blood thing. And because of that, she died in the hospital. She was 36 years old. And I was that time 13 years old. So anyway, that is that part of the story. So we went to married. I went to ask, my mother said to me, said, look, Tibi was with Tibi, that's no good. I said, you're married now, and tomorrow you're going up to be now where you go. Said, it's crazy to do that. I mean, you tell Julie that when you come back, then you marry. But everything was prepared. They prepared everything. We had a flat already renting. We were very poor people. We were renting a flat, although I had a very big job beforehand. So everything was furnished and ready to move in. And but the sense was that it's better if I'm not married. Then it came to the question. So I said, Julie, look, Julie, it's better. Like my mother said, better. I mean, we married one night, one day, and there is no thing. And she said to me, if you not marry me now, I won't wait for you. So I married her. And that is 64 years ago. So that is that part of it. But because of that, and because of my widow and mother, that give me such a power, mental power, I went through hell. I will tell you now that I'm sitting here opposite you is a miracle. God, it's a miracle. Out of 248 of us came back. I had typhus. I had water in the lung. I had diary, that was the worst one, because I had to go through a part where all Germans was around. And if you stayed out, they shoot you straight away. That was that time, the thing. And the Hungarian soldiers told us, don't stay there. But I was lucky that time that I had a very nice Hungarian person in about 8 Hungarians. Because that was the time when Lakatos was the foreign minister in Hungary. It wasn't Nazism there yet, real Nazism. Lakatos came into, and Lakatos wanted to prove to the West that they will bring some people back from forced labor. And I was one of them. He was between them. Why? Like that was all luck, really luck. My mother was working with a very big furrier company, furrier people in Hungary, called Langerman. But they were doing all the winter, the things in Europe, the coats, the heavy, expensive coats, for the Hungarian high officers, very high officers. He was working, and she was the one with hand working with them. And Langerman told one of the ladies there that there is a widower lady here who got a letter that she's not healthy and all the rest, and a young one, and she wanted to get so they replace you, and a letter from the government that they can be released because of that reason. One day married, plus a widow and mother, that reason come. And I got that letter. Now, I told you that before the facts happened, because the first time when I moved in I think Mohan, you'd see, yes, I think I wrote it in the King. Mort? Where did I move in? Where I moved in Mohaj? Where did I move in? When I first day married, where did I move in? Mohaj?
Where you moved in?
Yeah, where did I went into the army first, after we one day married?
Monor.
Monor. You see, it's better.
Monor.
Mohaj, Monor. Monor. So that's where we moved, that's where I moved in first. So I moved into Monor a day later with the paper, that was the reason I'm coming late. And then they took us out to Russia. Now to Serbia. Croatia.
To Ukraine.
Ukraine. So that's good. She knows the story of that. Ukraine. Now, when I moved into, we got on the wagons, like all the others, and we got out a place where we had to get out, and from there walking up to a long walk, nearly up to Voronezh, not far from Voronezh. That where was our place. And as we packing out, and as we had to take out from the wagon all the stuff what the Hungarian army using, different, a lot of guns and whatever, using food, everything for the trip. And as we're moving out, as we're taking out these old things, I looked it up and I watched a man standing there, a coat, shirt, shoes, yes, but they caught him on the last minute on the street. And they put them into us, our thing. So, but when we got out, and they had to push the cart, because the horses couldn't move it, it was sinking in the mud and all the snow. So we had to have them, and I noticed that. Soon I finished, I went to him. And I said to him, look, called Hacek. Look, how you are like person question. Why are you? So they caught me in the street and started to cry. I got two children back. And I said, look, you see that bag at my bag? Because my darling Jutsi and my mother prepared everything, whatever they knew where I'm going to. So I said, look, that bag is packed. Now, I get you a jumper, I get you under something, I get you another trousers, whatever. Shoes I couldn't get you because I got only the one. And every night it comes, we sleep together because I can't give you any cover. So what we do, we sleep together. It's two ways to think. It's first more warmer because we're colder, more warmer and so on, but that's what I do. And of course he was very happy. And I give him everything. And he was walking next to me out to the front, right. Turned out he was a very clever man, raffinate person. And as we walked, suddenly he steps out and went into a high officer there, started to clean his shoes and things. And he said, oh, you go back, you bloody Jew, you go back. So he came back. But he didn't let himself out. When we stopped the next time, he was there again. Then the boss that they found that is very useful for them. So, at the evening, when it came to the evening, then the people, the Hungarian soldiers, of course, they were separated. It's a better position than we were. And then they did give him some bread and things. The dark, when he came back, sleep next to me, he bought me the bread, whatever he got. So it was, but out of 24, I was the only one who, I didn't know that how clever he will do all this. How would I know? I don't know. And he was one of the guy, later on, because he was clever, later on, he was connected with all the Hungarian soldiers who comes around, and he was the one who organized to get some people who were wealthy and who can to contact them and give them bribe them, put it that way, you know. So they wrote a letter to their family in Hungary, and they told where to go and pick up some money and all the rest of it for the others. In the camp, as we lie there were judge, professors, doctors, a lot of teachers, a lot of high qualified people was between us. So they are all university degree people. And they organized that every evening, as we like, because we were very tired of the night, still every evening somebody has to give some sort of a lecture. And I had all lectures, everybody did a lecture. I had good voice, I had to sing. I was singing, I was a good voice. So that where it started, that high, as was the beginning of the thing. Who is that?
Put the phone down.
That's good. And that's how we went, we walked. As we walked, of course, a lot of people couldn't stand it, couldn't do it, couldn't make it. But most of them, they reached the point where we had to stop. Before that, I was called in, before we went to Russia, I was called in, comes my mother's thing, that's what I called in, and we were near to Ukraine border, Hungarian and Ukraine, between, it was I think Serbia, and we had to go to Serbia and to Ukraine. That group where I was up near the border on Hungary, and that border, we were the first group who was attached to a Hungarian special people who are building bridges, roads, and so on. They all picked out, who can do all this. We were attached to them. And then when the Hungarian and Russia both, came up, then that's what because we were attached, we were all Hungarian next to Germans, right through. So we went through there, a forest. In the forest, what we had to do, that was the original thing. At the forest, what we had to do is cut out trees, and then who build the road and the bridges, they use the tree, they have to clean it, and they use the tree to build the bridges, to make the road safe, walking, so that the Hungarian army can go through there. And it was about 3 to 4 months. We were, because the night here, night hard work, we were run down completely. So the high officer who was there, he said, no, you better go back and you're getting some fresh blood. And that's what it happened. I go back, we go back, we went back to the original place. And the next group came and did the same job as it reached the point. Now, when I went back on the place, then I got that letter to change me over, to take a there and change me over. I'm sorry, but you can stop that. Because sometimes...
Advertising, rubbish.
No, sometimes I'm still running my own things in the computer. And because of that, sometimes I got some clients, tenants or whatever. So,
You got the letter?
I got the letter. And then from that letter, they took me out from the group and take me back to Hungary with that letter and let me out free. But not long. Not long. And when I was free that time, I think that time we prepared the bedding. Now when I came back from there. Is that right?
What you're talking about now? Russia or what?
No, before I went to Russia.
Before you went to Russia?
And I was working as a high...
Oh, that was before Russia.
Yeah, of course it was before Russia, because I got the letter.
Yeah.
That's right. But when I got the letter and went back to Hungary...
Yeah, that was 41.
41.
Yeah.
And then I went back to work to
your job, yeah.
To my job.
Yeah.
And after we prepared the wedding, that's right, yeah.
And then we prepared the wedding.
Yeah, right. I had my uncle, that was very, very well known in Hungary. He was a big demolisher, demolishing houses. That's where I learned how to build houses. It's a funny thing. But anyway, demolished houses. And my mother talked to him, and he adopted me in a way. He asked me to come and help him. And I was in demolishing side of the building for a while. And then I got out because we had in Pestersé, but you don't know Hungary at all. No? So in a place called Pestersé, there we had a very big yard. On that yard we had 15 carpenters. Or whatever it came down from the thing, we had a gutter, they called the gutter, which cuts the timber, because between the two floors there are big timber, it goes there, not like concrete, like today. And then that timber had to cut up to make a timber, and from the timber, the carpenters who was then there, they made windows and doors. So we sold on that big yard what we took out from the demolishing thing, what's the name? The carpenters fixed them up so that we can sell as a second-hand one. But in the same time, when we cut the tree, they did new one as well. Doors, windows, whatever it needs to a house. Place. Suddenly we got another partner. We thought maybe he's open another, which they did, open another business at the corner. And then they were looking for another person to run that thing, and they couldn't find it. Of course, it's very hard to specializing in that thing. And then slowly I built it up myself, and I was the manager. I was 19 years old that time. The man I was selling, and I was organizing the carpenters, and I did that after thing. In the meantime, I had a lot of other things, but I don't want to. So anyway, coming back to marriage. So we married, and next day I went to Mohaj, is that right? No.
When you came back in 44, then where you stayed in Mohaj for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the quarantine when you came back from Russia.
Yeah, and then when we went out, I moved into, where I moved in?
When?
When we married after next day.
First we married 42 before you went to Russia.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Well, in June.
Yeah, where did we went? Where I went in? Where I moved in?
You went to Monor.
Monor, right, that's the one. That's where I want to work it out. So I went to Monor, and we started to. And then from Monor, I told you the story about this man, and then we walked out to Russia. By the way, could you turn it off for a second? So we walked out to the spot. Before we walked out to the spot, there is a very big forest called Bryansk Forest. Maybe you heard about it? No. Very big forest. That's where in Russia, in Croatia, in Ukraine, really, Ukraine and we had to go through that. The train, is it train?
Mm-hmm. Train.
Yeah, train. Now, took us out to the spot. Now, before we took us out to the spot, we had to go to this forest. And the partisans was up there. And whenever the train went out, Hungarian soldiers, they tried to blow it up. So what they did to us, because they didn't know that we are falsely not Hungarian soldiers. So what they told us, we had to go in front of the engine, walk on the front of the engine, and so they didn't blow up. They didn't blow up the train. But we had to walk through the engine, to protect the soldiers, he's not there. Now, so when it finished, so coming up to where we stayed in Russia, where it was not far from Voronezh, not far from. Now, when we stayed there, we settled there, and what we had to do is really we are that lucky that our officers around there were not very so they try to look after us, really. Yes, but the instruction came from the ministerium that they have to kill, really, I had to do it, to be killed, a certain percentage of Jews. Because in their interpretation, we losing thousands and thousands, 10,000 at the moment we lost Hungarian soldiers. The Jews, although they are not a reliable person, they had to do percentage-wise the same. That was the law, that was the instruction from the government at that time. I know through Hajek, because even there he heard everything, he knew everything. So they had to do something too. What we had to do is, we had to, they were looking for reasons, to die, somebody dies. Now the reason, one reason was, first we had to build I was lucky because of that group had a different attitudes. I know people, the others, if they won't come, if I wouldn't come back with this letter, and I would stay with these people, I wouldn't sit opposite them. Because there was 4 groups of 240. All groups, young ones, young. The 4 groups are the ones who, out of the 4 groups, are the ones who had to walk onto the snow before the Hungarian, Russian, or the German army came. They had to walk through the snow, and under the snow, it was the Russian mine. So whoever stepped on that is gone. But the Jews had to go through that first, make the road near, and we had to like a roll going through that way. I didn't have to do that. First they wanted to put me onto it, but Hatcher. I went to fire, and they called me back. But that time, I didn't know who I am, what I'm doing when the poor man came there. You know what I mean? That time, as I said, out of 240, I was the only one who picked up him and get it. So anyway, coming back to it. When break through those, Russia broke through, then we have to walk back. And Hacek told me that, Tilly, you stay here until I let you know to go. I will go, they will save me, I will go with the truck, with them, they will save me. Because, because he was the one who knows everything about the money and all the rest. They didn't want to lose him, because if he goes back, they will losing a lot of money or a lot of whatever. So, we went back. Yeah, and one day he said, now Tom, Tibi, they are very close to us now, the Russians. You better go, you go. Then I started to go. So, that was terrible. Food, no food, nothing. I mean, I got food from Hacek before I left, but that wasn't much. So, we went, I went. Now, I walked to Kiev. It's a long, long walk. Every night, the Russian population, the poor population, they were very good to us. When we knocked the door, and they are not soldiers, they let us in, and even they give us, the poor people, so they had a cow or a horse, and the house, the building was one door. Left side was the cow or horse. Right side where they slept, where they were. And the right side where they slept, it was called Kangisser-Cohen, where they doing the bread, but over there it was built just a big thing like that. The fire was there, and that was heating whatever. The front of that was a flat place, and there they used to sleep. They used to sleep. Now, cooking was only there, but nothing else. They're cooking always potato soup. That was there. That was very well known thing there. And what they did, they did a big bowl of potato soup, give us a type of a spoon, wood type of spoon, and we eat together with them. They were very lovely, helpful, very helpful people. But next day we had to move, we had to go. So that's how I went, and in the meantime, I remember clearly in front of me, I found a piece of bone on the floor, and I picked it up and tried the bone. Somebody already threw it away, and I remember that. So that's how I reached. I reached a town, we reached a town before Kiev. I can't remember the name, but I got the name of it. I reached the town, And before we reached the town, it was a Red Cross, a lady, a woman, a Red Cross standing inside. And when we saw us, it was late, dark already, late, because we went to, as long as we could, we went to go. So, and then she saw us, so she came and gave us a tin of something, food in it. I didn't know what was in it, but we got a tin. But for two of us, we had somebody else to go together. When I got the tin, we went further. We walked further until we reached the town. But it was late, dark, so everything was dark already. Every house was dark. So we decided with that fellow that, look, half is yours, half is mine. I told him, you take that tin. And in the morning, no. He said, you take the tin. So I took the tin, and we walked. Because I knew it straight away that two of us, we can't get into anywhere there anymore. It was dark, and doesn't matter where, because the Hungarian soldiers and the Germans and the other soldiers went into the houses and sleep. So when it came to that point, he gave it to me. All right.
Thank you.
You like some sugar?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Sure?
Yeah, thank you.
Milk?
Sweet?
No,
Sweet
no,
in there? No?
no, thank you. Thank you.
Same like me.
Yeah.
No.
Do you have milk?
The fun?
Do you like milk?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This is kosher.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, he went one way, I went the other way. Yes, I went dark somewhere. There is light over there. So I went knocked the door. It was already beginning. It was very, very, I was cautious to it, but light opened the door. So they opened the door. It turned out it was the headquarters of the again my mind of the where they just changed government. Ukrainian headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they saw me, of course, with now uniform and things like that, oh, you bloody Jew. And the thing was underneath here, me. And he grabbed me into a room, and four of them stands around me, grabbed the tin out of me. Give me the tin. Put it down the table. I didn't think. If I would think a minute, I wouldn't dare to do this thing. But unconsciously thinking about the half thing belongs to that guy, that came unconsciously, because consciously I couldn't do that, no way. So I pushed the two guys, Peter, I am not a Jew. Grab the thing and back here. So,
In the headquarters of Ukraine, headquarters.
yeah, that's right, Ukraine headquarters. So I pushed away these people, I grabbed the thing. Of course they were shocked, a Jew doing that thing. I said, I am not a Jew, leave me alone. But how? So look, I had to take off from a Jew because I was nothing on me and I had to do that. Come with me, they said. But the tin was here. Come with me. So I went into another room where Hungarian soldiers were lying there, and past the same story, past them. Half of them was sleeping, half of them was not. And he said, who is up? A few of them said, is he a Jew? Half of them said, yes, he's a Jew. The other half didn't say a word. But yes, he's a Jew. Back again. You are a bloody Jew. And again the thing. And again, pushed away, back again. And I said, I am not very loud, I shout. As I talk very loud, a high officer, very high officer, came out from another room and said, what is that big noise here? What is that very big noise? Let me sleep. What's the big noise? And I went in front of him and I said to him, look, they think I'm a Jew. They want to take away my food, but I got it from the Red Cross. And I'm not a Jew. He looked at me again. You're not a Jew? No. Where is your identification? Everybody has an identification. Where is your identification? I said, here it is. Yes, but then we had to fill out this identification. And when it came to religion, I left it open. And that was I left that open because I thought myself, I don't know how I will be and so on. So he looked at the paper and he said, that's empty. Why is that empty? He told me, why you didn't put your religion in? I said, religion put in when I was in a jail? I'm not a religion, I'm not a Jew. Because they took out quite a lot of people from the jail as well. Mm. He said to me, he looked at me, he didn't believe me. He didn't. I can see it, you can see it. But he looked at to them and said, no, he's not a Jew. Because they saw I give him the paper and all the rest, they saw this. But I talked to him Hungarian, they didn't understand it. And they give me the paper back. And they didn't touch the thing. But he took me out. It's a big building, it was a big building. It's a headquarters of the. Took me out and he opened another door and nobody was there. He said, you lie down here and tomorrow morning you can go. That's what they told me in Russian. I understand a bit of Russian. As soon as they closed the door, I opened the window, jumped out of the window into the snow. I show you what is written there, into the snow. And I said, I don't know where I will sleep, but I closed the window and I walked away from there in the snow. As I walked away, there I found a big, how you call it, high stack. That's right, a big high stack. So I went into that high stack up to here, took off my shoes, left it next to me, and I fell asleep. The tin was next to me, and I fell asleep. Yes, but next morning I wake up. I couldn't put the shoes on. It was frozen, stiff. So what I did, I put my trousers down, and this leg I put it there, and slowly, then another leg, slowly, and made it softer so that it came, so that I could take it on and I could walk in it. That's what I did. One of the section is the frozen boots. Is who's writing the book. And that's how I then met with the guy. We half did the thing, and we walked further. Until we walked until we reached Kiev. That was a bridge in Kiev. More bridges now, but that time was a bridge, and we stayed before the bridge. We stayed down there. There was where whoever came like that, they kept them together. We've been about 30, 40 boys who came together there. Yes, but there I got, water in the lung, and very high temperature. The typhus, black typhus, came out. That time was already well known that it's people getting that. So because of high temperature, I fell asleep. I was sleeping. But because of that, the high group of the people already went. They had about 6 or 7 Hungarian soldiers, because they couldn't go, the Germans didn't allow anybody through the bridge without soldiers protecting them, or without proved it that they are. So, but they left already. And I looked around, and I saw, because there was a lake, which is frozen in, was a lake. With horses and things like that, they can't go through the lake. So they had to go around the place. And when I went up and looked around, I saw them, lights, central lights, I saw them walking there. But how can I catch them? So I walked through the frozen lake, across, and I catch them over there. And there I was again lucky, because there was one person who saw my condition, and he asked me, you can sit on one of the carts, the horses for pulling the thing, and one of the thing I can sit on it. So I was sit on that, and my head was down. It was high temperature. The head was down, and I went through there. When we were in Kiev side already, and we a little bit had to walk to the hospital. We went to the hospital. The army hospital had to go to. So that we haven't got any fleas, to
disinfect
and all that. So I had to go there. And as I was sitting there, my head down and my hand like down in front of me, suddenly I feel something warm in my head. Look down, see some yellow kasha, something yellow which the Russian and they're doing it. And I looked up and the woman ran away from me. It was such a feeling, you can't, I can't explain all this. So I ate that thing, then they took us into this army hospital with my high temperature. I had to get naked. Or whatever rubbish I got on myself, others as well, they put them into disinfecting the things. Then I had to go under a cold shower with that temperature. When that was dry, they give it back to us. Then I had to dress up. Then there was another building not far from it, a hospital for the Jewish people.